Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Decoding Yoga, where the myths, doubts, and puzzles of yoga get decoded. I'm Eli Aguilar, and again, I'm so happy to start this series of yoga philosophy. In previous episodes, we have been talking about what yoga really is. We talk about reasons why yoga is for everybody. We also talk about the styles of yoga, especially when it comes to practice postures, because even though we have learned that yoga is not only about postures or asanas, there are ways of practicing these postures. And today we're going to be actually talking about a topic or a style of yoga that get confused with the yoga philosophy. And who is the best person to be with me today to talk about the yoga philosophy than my dear guest and friend Deepak Sharma, all over from India. This topic is one of his favorites, I think, yoga philosophy, right, Deepak? Hi.
Hi, namaste everyone. Thanks for having me here, Ellie.
Again, a pleasure to have you here to learn from you and to make it in a simple way. For me, the purpose of this show, of these talks, is to simplify things that have become complex, complicated, and somehow they are embedded with this mysticism and mystic things that people think that they need to go to a place, they need to have certain rituals to practice yoga. You have to do and look in certain ways. I always get these comments when people know me like, oh, but you don't look like a yogi. I'm like, I wonder how a yogi looks like. So I'm so happy that you're here to unravel these these steps that are part of the yoga philosophy. One of the styles that we were discussing last week was Ashtanga Vinyasa, which is a style or a way of how we can move our body on the mat in order to become stronger and all the benefits of the physical practice of that particular style of yoga. But I have heard a lot of your classes in the yoga teacher training courses that we have in Sampurna Yoga, when you teach this class and you always say that Ashtanga Vinyasa is not Ashtanga Yoga. So, can you please clarify what is the difference between these two concepts that honestly sounds same, and why it's important for everybody who are just experiencing and experimenting for the first time this style of yoga, or this not a style of yoga, this style of life called yoga. Why is it important for us to know that there is something called Ashtanga Vinyasa and something else called Ashtanga Yoga?
All right, thank you for asking this question. This is very, very important question and very, very dear to me. So there's a misconception going on in the world and it's becoming stronger day by day, where people think that Ashtanga Yoga is something, people think that there's something called Primary Series, Ashtanga Yoga Primary Series, which is a particular way of practicing asana. It's a fixed sequence of asana. You practice the same thing every single day, and it comes from southern India, the style of asana, and the whole world the whole world, the yoga community thinks that that particular asana style is the Ashtanga Yoga. This is what foreigners think. When I say foreigners, means people from outside India. But now, unfortunately, even Indians have started to think that this is what Ashtanga Yoga is, which is not at all true. So I would like to share my thoughts. Ashtanga Yoga was a system of yoga, system of spirituality, a lifestyle which was devised by sage Patanjali more than 3,000 years ago. So Ashtanga Yoga was not something which was founded or discovered in South India 50 years ago. It is something which was discovered at least more than 3,000 years ago by a sage whose name was Patanjali. Patanjali is regarded as the highest authority of yoga by one and all. So he is or was like the Einstein of the yoga world. Okay,
Great.
he picked up the knowledge of yoga and he made a system and he published his system and he called it Ashtanga Yoga, which means a system of 8 limbs.
Okay.
So Ashtanga Yoga comes from there. Now, now that today people like to think, I would say that 90-minute or 2-hour long asana practice is the core of Ashtanga Yoga.
Correct.
Or they think that 98% of the Ashtanga Yoga is the primary series or maybe the second series for some people, which is not at all true. Okay, so I would actually like to explain what is Ashtanga Yoga as per Patanjali. So Patanjali published his system of Ashtanga Yoga, how to walk the path of yoga, in 196 formula. His book or his publication, there was no publication, there was no actually printed book that time. Everything was orally transmitted. So his system is made of 196 sutras. So you must have heard something called Patanjali's Yoga Sutra.
Correct.
Yoga means the science to travel inwards, and sutra means formula. So just like we have formulas in mathematics and physics, to travel to reach the moon, we need formulas to reach the moon, to reach the Mars, to send the rocket to the Mars. In the same way, yoga is the science to explore the inner world, and we need formula to reach ourselves. Okay, so Patanjali, when he made his system, he gave formula like follow this formula and you will reach what you are looking for.
Great.
Which is your true self, right? So that is the meaning of sutra. Now there are 196 sutras in the entire system, and all that 196 sutras, they belong to 8 categories. He calls them 8 limbs. So just the way a human being has various limbs, like we have arms, we have legs, and a body is complete when all the limbs function together in harmony.
Correct.
All the limbs don't have to work simultaneously, but they all have to be in harmony with each other. In the same way, Ashtanga Yoga's 8 limbs are not 8 steps. They are not like staircase. They are like 8 limbs. They have to work together in harmony. They have to support each other. So those 8 limbs are, the very first is called Yama, then Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyan, Samadhi. Now what does it mean? So these 8 limbs, so the very first limb is called Yama. Yama is the how you should conduct, how a yoga practitioner should conduct himself or herself in the external world. It's just like the traffic world of his traffic rules of the spiritual world.
How to behave with others.
How to
basically.
behave, how to behave in the society, in the nature, with the animal, people, plants, everything. So just like you need to follow the traffic rules to make sure that you drive smoothly, you need to follow certain laws so that you are in harmony with the society, with the nature, so that the nature, the society itself doesn't become an obstacle on your path.
Okay.
Then there is something called niyama. Niyamas are the traffic rules for your own inner world. So you need to follow certain rules so that you are also in harmony with yourself. So only when you are in harmony with the external and the internal, then only you are at peace. And only when you are at peace, you can actually focus on finding yourself. You can focus on the pranayama, the meditation, the deeper aspects of spirituality.
Amazing.
Right? And then the third limb is asana. Asana is now the whole discussion is about asana. Asana means posture. Okay, a posture in which you can sit steadily and comfortably and meditate. So Patanjali says that the only thing Patanjali has said in the entire Yoga Sutra is that the posture should be steady and comfortable. So he says that your purpose on yoga is to sit and meditate. Choose a posture in which you can sit comfortably and steadily, without moving, without pain, for extended period of time. That's all he has said. He doesn't say that you should practice primary series or Bikram yoga or heart yoga or this yoga or that yoga. He doesn't say that do this posture or that posture, or do it slowly or do it dynamically. He doesn't say anything like
Or
that.
you need to be flexible or strong,
yeah.
or put your feet behind your neck, or any of that.
Exactly. All he says is, as long as just make sure that choose a posture in which you can sit comfortably and without moving. That's all he says. So now, Patanjali, who is the actual founder and the ultimate authority of Ashtanga Yoga, he has said only one line. He has dedicated only one line to the asana, and he has spent his 99% of the work on the other aspects of the on the other limbs. And all the other limbs like the yama, niyama, etc., they cover the entire lifestyle. They cover 24 hours. They cover the 24 hours of your life every single day.
Wow, amazing. And we have made asanas or postures the center of the yoga practice.
Exactly. So people in the modern world, they don't care so much about how you live, what you eat, how you think, what is your intention. All they care is, have you done your asana practice on the mat? And they judge your yogic abilities or level of your consciousness or your progress on the path of yoga based on that, which is absolutely wrong.
Correct. And how complex the asana that you're practicing.
Exactly. Or where you are in your physical practice. So when people ask me, did you practice yoga today? This is the most common question. Because I own a yoga school. So when they ask me, did you practice yoga today, or do you practice yoga every day? That question itself tells me that they have yet not understood the meaning of yoga.
Exactly.
Because yoga is like breathing. You breathe all the time. You don't breathe once in a day. You breathe all the time. In the same way, you practice yoga all the time.
Every day.
So that's why I would like to say that, the primary series is not Ashtanga Yoga. Ashtanga Yoga is something which covers your entire life, every single moment, every single breath.
This topic is so amazing, and I do believe that it's so important that I would love to invite you to a second part of this topic, because as you said, the yoga path is at 8 limbs. There are 8 categories that we should pay attention to. We already talked about 3. And because we know that people concentrate only in one. So what about coming next week to finish with the other 5 limbs that we have in this method, that for me is amazing to know that there is already a formula that if we want to become a better human beings with ourselves and with others, there is a method that is being proved and started 3,000 years ago, and that again is a system that teaches that we can live an honest life without necessarily doing complicated postures. So are you willing to come next week?
Absolutely.
Awesome.
I'm happy to come back anytime.
Perfect. So thank you everybody for listening this episode. So I promise you I will have Deepak here next week with the second part of Ashtanga Vinyasa is not Ashtanga Yoga. Thank you so much. And remember, if you have a body, a mind, and a soul, you can practice yoga, because yoga is more than what we do on the mat, is how we live off the mat. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Namaste.